There comes a moment in every life when the noise fades and a person is left alone with the quiet truth of their circumstances. Not the version they tell others, not the version they rehearse to protect their pride, but the unfiltered reality of where they stand and how far they have fallen. It is in this moment that philosophy stops being an abstract luxury and becomes a necessity. Because when the ground beneath you gives way, you do not need clever ideas or borrowed optimism. You need something sturdier. You need an understanding of what power really is and where it lives when comfort disappears. Most people are taught to associate power with control over the external world. Strength is measured by dominance, success by accumulation, worth by visible achievement. But the world is unstable, and everything external can be taken, broken, or lost. History is filled with strong empires that collapsed overnight and confident men who were undone by a single unforeseen moment. If power were merely the ability to bend circumstances to your will, then every setback would be a verdict on your worth. And yet, the most profound transformations in human life do not occur when things are easy, but when resistance becomes unavoidable. Resilience is not a personality trait reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It is a relationship with hardship that is cultivated over time. It begins when a man realizes that pain is not an interruption of life, but an essential part of it. The ancient thinkers understood this well. They did not ask how to avoid suffering, but how to stand correctly within it. To suffer without being broken is not weakness. It is discipline. It is the slow, often invisible practice of choosing not to surrender one's inner posture, even when the outer world is unkind. There is a quiet arrogance in the belief that life should be fair, or that effort guarantees reward. This belief collapses the first time fate ignores your plans. But there is also freedom in letting it go. When a man accepts that hardship is not a personal insult, but a universal condition, he stops wasting energy on resentment. He begins to ask better questions. Not, why is this happening to me? But, what is required of me now? In that shift, something powerful awakens. Responsibility without self-pity. Getting back up is rarely dramatic. It does not come with swelling music or sudden clarity. More often, it is an unremarkable decision made in private, repeated daily without applause. It is waking up when motivation is absent. It is doing the necessary work when no one is watching. It is choosing integrity when shortcuts are available. These acts do not feel heroic in the moment, but they accumulate into something formidable. Over time, they build a man who cannot be easily shaken, because his strength is not dependent on circumstances aligning in his favor. True power is the ability to endure without becoming bitter. Many survive hardship only to emerge hardened in the wrong way, cynical and closed off from life. This is not resilience. It is armor that rusts from the inside. Real resilience remains open. It allows pain to pass through without letting it define the self. It understands that suffering can teach without needing to scar permanently. This requires courage of a different kind, the courage to feel fully and still move forward. When things fall apart, identity is often the first casualty. A man who defines himself by his role, his success, or the approval of others finds himself hollow when those things are stripped away. But beneath all identities lies something more fundamental, the capacity to choose one's response. This is the last freedom, and it cannot be taken by force. Even in the most constrained circumstances, a man retains the power to decide what kind of person he will be in the face of what he cannot control. Getting back up does not mean returning to who you were before. That version of you belonged to a different set of conditions. The deeper challenge is to integrate what you have learned without allowing it to diminish you. Every fall reveals weaknesses, but it also reveals truths. It shows you what was superficial, what was unsustainable, and what genuinely matters. If you pay attention, adversity strips away illusions and leaves you with something leaner, more honest, and more capable of bearing weight. The temptation in hard times is to seek escape. Distraction, numbing, and denial offer temporary relief, but they quietly erode self-respect. A man knows when he is avoiding his own life, and that knowledge, ignored, becomes a heavy burden. Resilience grows when avoidance is replaced with presence. When you face what is in front of you without exaggeration or minimization, you reclaim agency. You stop being a passive victim of events and become an active participant in your own becoming. There is dignity in persistence, not the loud, performative kind, but the steady refusal to give up on oneself. This dignity does not demand recognition. It exists even if no one ever notices. In fact, it often grows strongest in isolation. When you continue despite loneliness, misunderstanding, or failure, you prove something to yourself that no external validation can replace. You learn that your commitment to your own principles is not conditional. The true power of man is not found in invulnerability, because invulnerability is an illusion. It is found in adaptability. The ability to bend without breaking, to revise plans without abandoning values, to mourn losses without surrendering hope. This power is quiet, patient, and often misunderstood. It does not announce itself. It reveals itself over time in the consistency of character rather than the intensity of emotion. Hardship has a way of slowing life down, forcing reflection where speed once masked discomfort. In this slowing, a man can rediscover meaning beyond achievement. He can ask what kind of life is worth rebuilding and what kind of person he must become to sustain it. These are not easy questions, but they are clarifying. They align effort with purpose, and in doing so, they transform struggle into direction. Getting back up is an act of faith, not in outcomes, but in process. It is trusting that effort matters even when results are delayed. It is believing that character compounds even when progress is invisible. This faith is not naive optimism. It is disciplined hope. It acknowledges uncertainty without surrendering to it. It moves forward not because success is guaranteed, but because stagnation is a slow form of defeat. In the end, resilience is not about winning against life. It is about participating fully in it, even when it hurts. It is about standing in the midst of difficulty and saying quietly but firmly that this moment will not have the final word. The man who can do this again and again becomes something rare, not unbreakable but deeply rooted, not fearless but courageous. And in that courage lies a power that no circumstance can truly destroy. Every hardship exposes the raw edges of character. It strips away illusions, leaving only what is real and enduring. And in that stark reality, a man discovers the simplest yet most profound truth. His strength is measured not by what he achieves in easy moments, but by how he endures when the weight of life threatens to crush him. Power is not in avoidance. It is in confrontation. It is in the slow, deliberate act of standing when the storm has stripped everything familiar away, of planting one foot firmly in the unknown and deciding that, despite fear and doubt, one will continue. This is the power few recognize because it does not flash or roar. It persists. It endures. Every challenge becomes a teacher, and every setback a mirror reflecting weaknesses that can be addressed, rather than excuses that must be blamed on the world. In this way, hardship becomes a forge, and the man who passes through it ill-tempered, is more formidable than he knew himself capable of being. They create a rhythm of persistence that no external force can disrupt. And though each individual act may seem minor, together they form an unshakable testament to the will of a man who refuses to be defeated by circumstance alone. To remain open is to risk failure, embarrassment, and loss again. Yet in embracing vulnerability, a man discovers a deeper kind of strength, a strength that can bend, stretch, and absorb impact without breaking. It is in the elasticity of character that true resilience lives, allowing life to shape him, but never defining him. In these choices, small as they may seem, lies the secret of greatness. To respond with integrity, to continue with purpose, to act in alignment with principle. These are the victories no one can take away. They are quieter than trophies, yet infinitely more durable. It teaches patience where haste once ruled. It teaches empathy where self-interest once prevailed. It teaches the quiet joy of persistence, the dignity of effort, and the profound power of showing up for oneself every day, even when the world seems indifferent. In this reclaimed space, the path forward becomes visible, not because the world has changed, but because the man walking it has. Presence, in adversity, becomes an act of creation, the creation of a self capable of enduring, learning, and rising again. It grows in small victories repeated, in the uncelebrated acts of courage, in the refusal to surrender to bitterness or despair. Those who master it discover freedom even amidst constraint, agency even amidst chaos, and strength even amidst failure. It is in the repetition of returning, in the deliberate act of endurance, that a man discovers the full measure of his strength, the unshakable core of his being, and the quiet triumph that is reserved for those who never stop rising.